Hi, I'm Sue with Irreversibly Moi, and we're thrilled to have with us today Natalie Sperling. Natalie is going to share with us about her practice and what she does, and I know you're just going to love getting to know her a bit. I'm looking forward to it as well. So I want to warmly welcome you, Natalie. Welcome to Irreversibly Moi, and ask you to tell me and our audience a little bit about you and what it is you do.
Thank you, Sue, for that lovely introduction. So I am a certified holistic health coach and a transformational coach. So I work predominantly with women, but I've taken on a few amazing men who I just really resonated with and wanted to work with as well. And I help people heal their bodies naturally, so healing our relationship with our bodies, many cases being able to overcome pain from chronic conditions and, loving our lives again, because I find so many people today just, it's the grind. You get up, you go to work, you get home from work, you make dinner, you deal with the kids, you go to bed, and you do it over again.
Right.
And I think life is too short to live that way, so I help people escape the grind and fall in love with their lives and pursue their deepest desires and their biggest dreams.
Well, great, great. And I think that fits in so nicely with who we are at Irreversibly Moi, because it's not just about the art for us, it's about using that art as a vehicle to love and accept yourself more and love and accept your life more. So I think that's a nice little marriage between what you do and what we do. Um, how would you describe transformational coach if someone has never heard of it or doesn't quite understand what it is that a transformational coach can do for them?
Okay, yeah. I find most people don't even know what coaching as a whole is. You think, like sports coaches or whatever. Um, so with coaching and with the transformational aspect particularly, the goal is to get to your center, your core beliefs, and to shift those belief systems so that they are in alignment with what you want to achieve. So when they're out of alignment with what you want to achieve, you'll go into what we would normally call self-sabotaging behaviors. And you won't ever reach your goals and your dreams, and you'll be frustrated with that. So if we can shift those belief systems, then you can achieve all of those goals and dreams. And that's what the transformational coaching does.
Now, the holistic health coaching, is that part of the same or is it a separate practice for you? Tell us a little bit about that and what that entails.
Yeah, so it's all part of the same practice. Health coaching was where I first got into coaching, and that was after my own healing journey. I realized that more people need to know that our bodies are pretty magical and they can do a lot on their own if we support them with the right environment and the right nutrients. So with health coaching, what I do there a lot of times is we do work on the transformational stuff, but I also help people figure out what they should be eating for their body. There is absolutely no one-size-fits-all perfect diet, and that's where a lot of mainstream diets and programs and weight loss programs all fail, is that they assume that everyone is going to thrive on the same diet, and this is just not true. Well, bless you.
Thank you.
So as a health coach, I work with people to uncover their perfect, unique blueprint of food and what they need for their bodies. And along with that goes the transformational coaching, because, sometimes we've got those blocks about, oh, well, I don't really deserve to be healthy, or I don't deserve to be thin and fit. So we work on all that together.
Well, very cool. How long have you been coaching, both in the holistic health and the transformational?
Probably like unofficially, like most of my life, I've always kind of been, the go-to person for people to talk about things. People confide in me really easily and come to me for a lot of advice and, just feedback on what they're doing. And officially, I started my business, oh my goodness, now, what is it? About 2 years ago, I guess I must have started. Can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, so it's been about 2 years of full-time coaching, and I've been doing it now totally full-time for a little over a year, which is really exciting.
And how did you get started in coaching?
So I had dreams of being a doctor. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help a lot of people. I wanted to be a doctor. And when I was in my last year of my undergraduate degree, I ended up having some really bad back problems. And over the course of about 6 months, wound up on all kinds of medications, anti-inflammatory drugs, painkillers, antidepressants, and I was taking things to support my liver and kidneys because they weren't doing so well with all the drugs. And wound up finding out that I have degenerative disc disease. So that triggers a lot of pain in the spine. My back would seize up and I would get stuck bent over. It was really frustrating, and I hit a point where, I was looking at surgery and a life on medications. And I was like, man, I am like, this is not happening. This cannot be what my life is going to be for like the rest of it. So I moved back to Ontario. I'm in Calgary now, and moved back to Ontario to stay at my mom's because I was like, if I need surgery, she's looking after me. She's the nurse in the family. She's going to take care of me. And put myself on an entire just healing journey program, really. I started experimenting with different ideas and protocols. I was like, I'm not doing surgery. This is not what I want. And wound up getting myself off all the medications that I was taking, and it's now been almost 3 years since I've taken anything for pain. I don't even take Advil or Tylenol anymore.
Wow.
So it's been, and that's when I decided I was going to be a coach, because I thought more people need to know about this, more people need to know there's alternatives.
So what kind of alternatives are there for, let's say, I know of a few of our audience members experience back pain and issues like that. So what options are there for them besides drugs and surgery and?
Yeah, I think, there is definitely a time and a place for those things, and I would never encourage anyone to just like quit taking everything. I did that personally, but that was me. That was my choice, right? But, there's so many things we can do. When we change our diet and we adopt an anti-inflammatory diet, that helps so much with pain. It helps with our mood. It just, like, that was the key thing that I did that helped me with, I'd battled depression, anxiety, OCD, PTSD for years. And healing my digestive system was the key for me to being able to heal my mood and to be operating in a state where I don't deal with those issues anymore. And it helps with pain because it reduces the amount of inflammation throughout the body. There's so many wonderful essential oils that help with inflammation that can be used as like muscle relaxants and like pain reducers, that kind of thing. Yoga has been really powerful for me. Something that I was told I'd never be able to do again, and I now practice every day. It was just a matter of learning how to listen to what worked for me and what didn't work. And then I use a lot of meditation and visualization techniques. A lot of studies have shown that, like our mind is really powerful, and, there's people who can slow their heart rate right down and like appear almost as if they're dead through meditation. So if people can have that much control over it, why can't I have that much control over what my body's doing? So I started experimenting with that a lot. EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, that's something that I use a lot as well. So those are some of the main things that I do that really help.
Now, are most of the people that you work with local to you, or do you do online coaching as well through like Skype or something?
Actually, most of my clients aren't local. I've got people everywhere from, all over Canada, the US, Mexico, Ireland, Africa, Indonesia. So all my coaching is done virtually. So we do Skype, or we do just through a conference calling line.
Great, great. The world has become so much smaller, so to speak, now that we have these technologies to connect. I'm in the U.S. in north central Missouri, and there you are in Canada, and it's like we're sitting in the same room.
Yeah.
So
it's
I'm
amazing.
sure that it makes you available to so many more people to share what you do and help them. So that's great. Now, how do you see what you do as being able to help with two things in particularly? One, it's not a statement across the board, but many people who are involved in art also tend to battle depression.
Mhm.
And sometimes people who battle depression use art to help them heal and grow. So let's start with, how can your practice help people with creativity and depression?
Oh, I love that question. Um, I'm not artistic in like the painting drawing sense really, although I'm sure my mom would kind of disagree a little bit on that front. But
Moms
I like
always
I
do.
sorry?
Moms always do. Moms always think their kids are the best at everything.
Yes, they do. But I love to scrapbooking and like making handmade cards. That kind of thing for me is something that's it's soothing, it's relaxing. I feel good doing it. So I block off Sundays as my day to do that kind of stuff. I occasionally sketch and I play piano. So all of those things are kind of creative activities. And, when we're depressed, and I know like in my own experience, when I'm depressed, I tend not to want to do a lot of things. Like I don't want to do those kinds of things. And that's the opposite of what we should be doing, because those things make us feel good. They release the feel good chemicals in our brain. They can really help uplift us and boost our mood. So by practicing those activities, we can help with the depression. And then where I would come in and help out with that is, being that like accountability and challenge and support buddy for a lot of people. Because I found with a lot of my clients, they're like, oh, I know I should, like sketch, or I know I should draw or whatever, but they don't want to do it. And it's like, so part of our program working together is, okay, like here's a challenge for you. So 4 days or whatever this week, you're going to spend 30 minutes doing something that you love doing. And it
Right.
becomes then kind of like, oh, like there's just that accountability. There's that, they don't want to let me down, even though they're absolutely perfect the way they are. That becomes that thing. Like I know with my coach, I don't want to let her down. So I'll do
Right.
whatever I say, right?
Sure.
It just adds into that. And then with the health coaching side of things, like being able to shift the diet and help heal that digestive system so that you're not blocking all the serotonin from reaching our brain, then we're going to start feeling better, and that's going to help stimulate more creativity and more ideas.
Great. So if let's say someone just came to you and said, I love art, but I just seem to be blocked and I just can't get unstuck and get my mojo back.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them, or how do you think you'd be able to help them?
I don't know if it'd be so much that I would tell them anything. I would get really curious. I would just start asking a lot of questions. I believe that we all know the answer. We know our answer. We know what we need to do to feel good. We know what we need to do to, like drop the extra pounds we're holding on to. We know what we need to do to, boost our mood. So my job really as a coach is just to help you uncover what you already know. So when I ask a lot of questions, well, what do you want? Well, what do you believe about that? Well, like if you spent time working on your art and you shared it with other people, what would that say about you? What would they believe about you? Because there's always just some kind of a block somewhere. So it would
Right.
just be helping you uncover that block that's holding you back from really expressing yourself.
Right. Right. That I'm fascinated by what you were talking about with the inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
I'd read an article many years ago. A neighbor shared a book with me that I sadly kept intending to read and never had. I think it was called The Inflammation Nation,
Mm-hmm.
and it was about how the inflammation in our bodies is causing us to gain and keep weight on, causes depression, causes arthritis problems. Um, is that something, that's something it sounds like you address in your practice? Do you also work with people specifically for weight loss, or is it just generally identifying what they need to eat in order for them to be healthy overall, and weight loss is a result of that?
Great question. Yes, I do work with people who are, um,
Sorry.
no worries. I was waiting for one of mine to come by. Um, I
That was
do,
Brady, by the way.
so cute. I've got a few running around. You might see them pop across this ledge behind me.
They like to.
Um, Yeah, they love it. So no, I do work with, men and women who like their primary goal is weight loss. And a lot of people have blocks that keep them from losing the weight. And a lot of people have tried diets in the past. And it's kind of funny because the biggest predictor of weight struggles is someone who's been on a diet, which
Right?
seems kind of ironic, right? You think going on a diet, I'm going to, get to my goal weight and I'm going to be happy and, live peacefully forever. Well, most people, I think it's about 90% who have been on a diet, then later struggle with their weight.
Right.
So when I work with people, it's, uncovering, yes, we uncover the right foods to eat. We uncover the blocks. We uncover the beliefs about, why you can't lose weight or why you've put it on, because there's usually something in there that's keeping you kind of stuck with that in
Right.
that position in your life. And a lot of times, you know what, as soon as you start like detoxing and cleansing from the emotional feelings and whatnot that you're holding on to, and from the foods that aren't working for your body, the weight just starts like falling off, and people are like, wow, like I didn't know it could be this easy. And it
Right.
really can be effortless when your body is fueled with what it needs and the emotional and mental blocks are like released. It just happens. Your body doesn't want to be fat, but it's using that as a protection for something.
How do you determine what foods are right for some people and not right for others?
So that is a little bit of an experimentation process. I do have an elimination diet protocol that I follow with clients and that I do myself at least twice a year because, it's a bit of a challenge, or it can be, to give up all kinds of foods. All of a sudden you're like, boy, what the heck am I supposed to eat here?
Right.
So I like to do it so that I have that personal experience and can relate easily. But when we eliminate common allergens, things, like corn, genetically modified foods, wheats and gluten containing grains, nightshade vegetables, so things like potatoes, eggplants, tomatoes, bell
Really?
peppers, peppers. When we eliminate those things, dairy is another big one, actually. Dairy triggers a lot of inflammation in the body in most people that I've worked with. So when we eliminate those things, then we keep them out of the diet, depending on sort of where the person's at. That can vary, but we'll keep them out of the diet for a specific period of time. And then we'll start introducing them back. And you'll start to notice after not having it, you'll notice if it makes you feel worse. You'll notice if any symptoms show up. And that's how you uncover what really works for you.
Hmm. How long do you normally work with a client?
So my program ranges are like 90 days, 6 months, and a year long programs. Most people are like, whoa, I don't know if I could commit to 6 months. So they'll join for like 90 days or 3 months. And I believe actually every client I've worked with has signed on for an additional one. I've worked with some people now for about a year and a half. I've worked with some people right now for just the 3 months so far. So
Right.
it really depends. It's really flexible, and a lot of times when you release something, there's something else. It's kind of like an onion, right? Like you peel off one layer and then boom, there's something else there. Then you peel off that and you get through that and then, oh, you hit another layer. So my goal is to, just support you as you peel off all those layers and to give you tools that you can do that more efficiently and more effectively on your own.
Great, great. And do you find that most people are able to really see a difference in 3 months in terms of their overall health or what they're looking for in their transformation?
Yes, and a lot of it really depends on the person. If they're really committed, amazing things can happen. I have one client who, when we first started working together, her diet was literally like meat and potatoes, rice, and her only vegetable really was carrot sticks. She ate candy, pops, chips, wings, all that stuff that's just really not the best for you.
Right.
And by the end of the 3 months, she had cut out sugar completely, had cut out dairy completely, had cut out grains, was drinking loads of water every day. And it was just amazing. Like all her friends were like, man, you're glowing. You look amazing. Like, what have you been doing? When she started working with me, she was on antidepressants. By the time the end of the 3 months, those were being reduced already.
Oh, wow.
So it
Well,
was,
that's
it
a
can
great
be really,
testimony to what the foods we take in do to our bodies and our minds.
hmm yeah.
Absolutely. I think for me, my struggles are, I think if I did an elimination diet, one, I don't think I could live without black coffee. I literally drink 2 to 3 pots of black coffee a day.
hmm
Um,
I
and
used
then my
to, I
other
used to.
weakness, pardon?
I used to drink that much coffee, definitely, at
I
least.
can't even imagine not having coffee. I think that the entire coffee economy would be affected if I slow down my coffee consumption. And the other is cheese and ice cream. So I think, that probably would be a trigger for me. I do know when I drink certain things, for example, I had a wheat beer not long ago,
hmm
and the next day I had terrible gastrointestinal issues. And so I said, oh, maybe it's a fluke. And I tried it again a few weeks later, and I had the same thing. So I know now that either the wheat or something in that wheat beer is causing an issue for me. So I'm fascinated by that whole topic.
Yeah.
Uh, so how can people work with you? What do you just do one-on-one, or do you also offer seminars, webinars, or classes?
So I do the one-on-one coaching. I do webinars, two-ish or so a month. Some months a little more, but usually about two a month. And those are always, free, and I do the replays because time differences,
Sure.
um, and I'm also actually just putting the finishing touches on a group program that's going to be launching next month, which I'm really excited about. So it'll be small
Exciting.
groups because I believe I don't want it to be like people are getting lost. So I really want a small, like intimate group for it. And we're going to work through all these main areas, rethinking what goes onto your plate and how you approach food, getting into the right mindset, working on some stress management because that's a big thing with all of this. So I'm excited to
Sure.
be launching that right away.
Oh, that's exciting. And we'll be sure to put the links for everything and how people can find you um, online so
hmm
that our audience can reach out to you and get on your lists and get on your webinars and learn more about what you offer. That's
Awesome.
great. So, what's next for you? You mentioned that you have a group coaching coming up. Is there anything out there that you're just burning to introduce or launch at some point? Kind
Oh,
of a
goodness.
dream.
So many things. So many things. So after the group program, the next thing I believe that I'm going to be launching is an online do-it-yourself style program. So something to kind of get your feet wet into this whole idea that, food is actually really powerful and our minds are really powerful. So some great techniques that you can do on your own. That is going to be launching this summer is sort of the tentative idea for that. I'm also starting to do local workshops here in Calgary. So I'm
Great.
excited about that, doing some
That's
speaking.
exciting.
Yeah, so those are a couple of the things that are happening this year.
Very cool. Exciting. Excuse me while I shut my door because my dogs are weighing in on our conversation.
For sure.
I have a menagerie of pets, 3 dogs and 5 cats,
Oh,
because
wow.
I'm a sucker for strays and tend to bring home anything that anyone finds. So,
I
um,
can relate. I can relate.
but
I have 6 kitty cats. Four of them were just kind of like, oops, they needed a home. I took them in.
yeah, that's what happens here. And people know that I'm a sucker, so they bring them to me. So, um, all right. Well, as I said, we're going to put up all kinds of links so everyone can find you and get on your webinars and learn more. I think this is fascinating and how by changing our health and changing how we feel physically, it can make such a difference in how we feel emotionally and mentally. So I know that so many of our readers or listeners are going to resonate with that. Before we go, I want to just ask you a few, call it a fast five. We'll take about 5 minutes just to ask some of your favorites
All right.
and get to know you on a personal level a little bit. So, your favorite snack food?
Oh, goodness. Kale chips and brownies.
Mm. Not together, I hope.
No, no, separate.
Favorite musical artist?
Oh gosh, so many. When I'm working, I need to have just like background music, so that's just a lot of classical music. Um, and then artists, oh gosh, I love so many. Metric, I love John Mayer, a lot of his older stuff. Been on a big Tom Petty kick lately. Lots.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. If you asked me, I couldn't answer that question because I have very eclectic tastes. Everything from contemporary Christian country to rap to EDM. So it's I could never answer that. I understand. So
It changes
what
all the time.
it does, depending on your mood and the weather and yeah. So
Exactly.
and then there's certain driving music that you have to listen to when you're driving to get you in that in that zone.
Yes.
Um, what book or books are you reading now?
Oh my goodness. I'm currently reading The Motivation Manifesto by Brennan Burchard, The Big Leap
Me
by Gay
too.
Hendricks, Stones into Schools, Greg Mortensen, I believe is his name. It's autobiography. It's really great. Lost and Found by Janine Roth,
Oh,
and of course, A Course in Miracles. I've been working on that for a little while now. And what's the other one I've got on the go? I just started it again yesterday. Oh, the Immune System Recovery Plan.
oh
Another
wow,
one.
very cool and very varied interests too.
Yes,
So,
I read everything. Usually a novel on the go. I finished my novel up on Sunday though, so I gotta find another one.
well, I'm reading one now, the new Kristen Hanna book, The Nightingale, and
Ah,
it's historical fiction, and it's so far it's fabulous. So,
oh,
uh,
perfect. We'll go find that one.
and I'm about to start the Course in Miracles myself. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Um, TV show you just can't miss.
Well, I don't actually have a TV,
Okay.
um, but I am a big Grey's Anatomy fan. I've loved it since like the pilot, and I'm
Right.
pretty sure I'll watch it right until the end.
I hear a lot of people are really into that show. I myself haven't watched it, but okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea, definitely. Used to be
And
coffee, but tea.
right, I'm afraid to hear that. uh, and one odd thing we probably don't know about you.
Mm. Well, let's see here. One odd thing you probably don't know about me. I have 6 cats, as I mentioned, and even though I'm a health coach, there are some days where I have cookies for dinner.
There you go. I love how real you are. That's great. We can all relate to that. When my kids were little and I was too lazy to cook or too tired to cook, we would end up having an ice cream sundae for dessert, and I would tell them, or for dinner, and I'd say, it's a celebration, it's a surprise. Guess what? And make it seem like I planned it all along, but it really was just because I had no intention of cooking that night. So I appreciate that. Well, Natalie, I've really enjoyed getting to know you and learning more about you and what you do. And I know that our audience enjoyed it as well. We're going to make sure we post all your links and all kinds of ways for folks to get in touch with you and find out more. And I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Sue. Love getting the word out that, food really makes an impact on everything, our bodies and our mood It's huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the net.
Yes.